Republican Congressman Tom Tiffany of Wisconsin is leading an effort to build normal diplomatic relations with Taiwan. He just introduced a bill in Congress that would officially end the One China policy. Under this policy, the U.S. ended formal relations with Taiwan in 1979. Congressman Tiffany agreed to speak with us exclusively today to discuss the bill. Congressman Tom Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to join you today, Steve.
Congressman, you're reintroducing a bill to establish normal diplomatic relations between the United States and Taiwan. Tell us, what do normal diplomatic relations actually look like?
Well, it should look like with dozens, if not hundreds, of countries around the world. Taiwan has been put on the same footing since the Carter era as North Korea and other recalcitrant countries like that. Shouldn't they be treated? Taiwan, it's a democratic country. Since 1979, they've expanded their democracy and are truly a peace-loving, free country here on planet Earth, and I think they should be recognized as such.
You know, it's fast. As somebody who's been to both countries, China and Taiwan, the differences are literally palpable. From the flags that they fly to the type of government that they operate. So why do you think we've seen such a playing of words when it comes to recognizing Taiwan?
You know, I'm not sure why. What you said there really harks back to the trip that I made to Taiwan, and I noticed just at times the fear by some government officials towards mainland China. That really struck me, and it's informed me as we've went forward. And to me, this is why we need this bill. And it's good to see it's expanding in terms of the number of co-sponsorships. When we did it a couple years ago, it was me alone. And now this year we're going to have 18 original co-sponsors. And I think it's really, there's more and more people in Congress that are understanding how important Taiwan is and how important that we recognize Taiwan and that we trade with Taiwan.
And do you think that maybe one lesson that we're learning with Ukraine, or an example that we're seeing with Ukraine, the importance for members of Congress and government officials, elected officials, to show their support for Taiwan, so that, like you said, when you went there, you don't see the fear and trepidation from Taiwan officials over China?
Support shows strength. When you look at the Ukraine, what were the two things that Vladimir Putin took from 2021? One, America is no longer going to be energy independent under President Biden, and then the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. They saw weakness. It is really important, and that's part of the reason we're introducing this bill, is to show strength, and I think Congress has a key role to play in that.
And speaking of which, Speaker McCarthy announced that he will be making a trip to Taiwan in the coming weeks or months. How important do you think that will be, that trip?
Really good news. You know, in spite of President Biden being really hesitant on this issue, including his foreign policy team, it was good that Speaker Pelosi made the trip to Taiwan. But I'm really heartened to hear that Speaker McCarthy is going to make a trip to Taiwan, and I think this benefits Taiwan, but it also benefits America, and once again it shows strength. And I think Congress really needs to do that, in part because we have this vacuum at this point in the executive branch of showing that America is a strong country, and we need to project that, because sometimes that keeps the bad guys or our adversaries at bay.
Congressman, my last question for you. In Washington, D.C., it's the capital of the country. We also have a lot of think tanks here, and sometimes when you talk to so-called China experts, they'll lecture you as to how we should not upset the Chinese government. How concerning is this?
Well, you have to know who you're talking to out here in Washington, D.C., and find out what their agenda is. And our agenda in our office, and we try to make it clear to any think tanks, any lobbyists, is that we believe the One China policy needs to end, and we believe in a free, democratically run Taiwan, and we should recognize them as such.
Congressman Tom Tiffany, thank you so much.
It's good to join you, Steve.